Hey there, it's Kimberly here with Knit for Brains, and you know what dawned on me? That I haven't actually shown you what I've been working on lately. So this video is just about my WIPs, what I finished and what I'm working on. So grab a cuppa and maybe your hooks or maybe your needles and join me. Hey there. So it dawned on me, I haven't actually shown you what I've been doing. Well, since we got back from our trip, I'll tell you what I've been doing, and that's Welcome Home. Project Welcome Home. Oh my goodness. That was an amazing project. It culminated. We were able to make 38. We've got two more things to make squares for Project Welcome Home. And it's amazing. It was absolutely such a gift, such an amazing opportunity, experience. The residents were so surprised, just like they really had no clue. Even though the director accidentally put on the calendar big blanket giveaway on their big calendar. I'm like, what is supposed to be a surprise? But nobody really seemed to understand what it was. So they all showed up and they had no clue whatsoever. But it was really wonderful. It was really wonderful. If you want to know what I'm talking about, you can check out the video and you can see we actually did the Brit and I, well, okay, he did it. I did the filming stuff, but he did all the editing. We were able to do like a culmination throughout the last 6 months of me picking up yarns and granny squares and putting them together and all the pictures of all the blankets. So if you haven't had a chance to check it out, you really need to head over to the playlist of Project Welcome Home and check it out. And if you want to help with Project Welcome Home, we're going to be doing it again in 2025. There was just too much excitement. You guys just loved it so much that I knew that it had grown bigger than me. And, but I can't stop it. So we're going to continue on with Project Welcome Home. So if you want to continue giving granny squares and, donating granny squares, we're going to continue to put them together. I'm enlisting the help of other little elves who can help us put together those granny square blankets. Cause I don't really want to look at another granny square for like a couple of days, something like that. But you can certainly help out. We're looking for 6-inch squares. They're about 6 inches. And with 42 of them, we'll make a wheelchair blanket. We don't want it to be really big. They're like lap blankets. They're not massive, but just big enough that they can wrap over them when they're in their walkers or wheelchairs, watching TV or whatever it is. So all the information is on the playlist. There's a P.O. box where you can send the squares into and all the information as such. So. But that was amazing. Moving on. So I did have to kind of like put a little bit of a halt, a little kibosh on my WIPs until we got through this. But I'm very excited. I have so much in store for 2025. I can't even tell you. I am going to be kicking this off. I've talked about this before. I'm going to call it, one of the subscribers said, you know what, you should call this SO 2025. I'm like, SO? She's like, Stash Only 2025. And I'm like, okay. Stash Buster, Stash Only works. So I might end up integrating the two because Stash Buster, I think, is probably more, ingrained into my head. But that's what I'm doing. So here's the rules. In 2025, the goal is not to buy new yarn. See how long I can go without buying new yarn. Now, the caveat to that is if there's like some really great new promo yarn that I want to show you, that I want to try out, maybe I'll get a skip. We'll see. I am leaving that little caveat out there, but I'm going to try very hard to have really good self-restraint and not just buy it willy-nilly. So that's my goal. First of all, not to buy any new yarn. Now, if somebody gives me yarn, what am I going to say? Nope, sorry. I mean, hello. No, that's like really rude. So of course I would take the yarn. Secondly, I have a lot of patterns, more patterns than I could probably ever go through in my lifetime. So the second thing I'm going to do is try not to buy any new patterns. Now, I am going to be working on this really cute vest. It's called the Escondido vest, and it's crocheted. I got it from Vogue Knits, and I had the perfect yarn, but I was shy just a few skeins. But I ordered it, and it will be here before the end of the year, before the end of 2024. And that's the kicker, Brit. That's the caveat, is it's coming in before the end of 2024. So as long as that's the case, I'm good. I'm scot-free. So here's my goal. Each month, I want to do one crochet item, one knit item, one weave item. Okay, this is my goal. and then one other. An other can either be like yarn painting, macrame, punch art, something like that. I'm going to just try to kind of maybe paint outside the box. But that's my goal. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish each thing each month, but that is the goal. And I'm even starting to, people like, weaving? Really? So if you saw my video with a woman named Chris Acton from Acton Creative, she's amazing. She has a floor loom. I didn't inherit it, but it was ended up being such an amazing deal. I kind of sort of inherited it. I paid $200 for the loom, the bench, like all of it. Thousands of dollars worth of stuff. I even got a yarn spindle, a yarn swift, if you will, included in the whole thing. And yarn swifts can often go like $100 or more. So for $200, I got this beautiful floor loom, and she's sitting here, and she takes up a lot of space. So Fiona, the floor loom, is going to be used. I'm actually going to be taking a course with Chris Acton, and it's dressing the loom, which is getting the yarn from here over on the loom. Once it's on the loom, I'm good. I know what I'm doing, you know, sort of, but it's getting it over there. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to be doing some weaving. I also just found a really great deal, and I found out today that it shipped. It came from Lion Brand. It's a schlatt. I know I'm saying it wrong. I'm mispronouncing it, and I apologize. But they make looms, and they're out of Colorado. They make the Cricut loom, and it is what they call a flip loom. So it's a table loom, and it's a 20-inch, and it's probably about yay big, and it's only like $375. And Lion Brand had it on clearance for $165. I said, the Brit, and I kind of have a little bit of FOMO, but I'm working through it because they also had the stand. So basically, you could sit it on the table, totally fine. Or you could get the stand that it sits up in, and you could sit, and it's just a little bit easier. And it, you know, and the stand was normally $220. It was marked down to $88. And I put that in my cart, and I was waiting for the Brit to wake up. Can I talk to you, please? By the time he woke up, and he goes, yeah, go ahead and do it. I went to click, and the stand was gone. Oh, I'm so mad. And I don't want to pay $220. I don't want to pay more for the stand than I did for the loom. The loom itself was $374, but I got it for $165. It was 60% off. So I'm trying not to be about not getting the stand. I'll sit it on the table. If I hate it without the stand, you know, maybe I'll get it. But it's going to be fine on the table. It's really going to be fine. You just fing. So you're going to be seeing some weaving on this channel. Doesn't mean I'm not going to be crocheting. Doesn't mean I'm not going to be knitting. It just means I'm adding a new fiber frenzy to the playlist. And I have a separate playlist. I encourage you, because I know you. If you know me, and I know me, I know you, and you have a lot of stash. You got to have some extra yarns laying around. And I know because you sent me granny squares. But, you know, weaving is a really great way to use up yarn, and you don't have to get a big floor loom. You don't have to have all that space. So I've got some other looms. I've got little tiny pin looms. They're like $30, $40. I have a stand-up loom that I got at Michael's for like $30. So we're going to be looking at a lot of different kinds of weaving in 2025. Not just a floor loom. So I've got myself a floor loom. Then what I'm getting is what they call a rigid heddle loom, which means it's just, you'll see. The floor loom is what they call multi-shaft. So the heddles where the yarn goes through, there's 4 of them. They go up and down like this. Okay, it's a little bit more complicated. Rigid heddle is literally something that goes up and drops down. It goes up and drops down. And so it does that kind of by itself with just one thing. You'll see. You'll see what I'm talking about. Anyways, you'll be seeing a lot more about that. But let's talk a little bit about my whips. So, you know, we just came back from this cruise, and I didn't even get the chance to show you what I made on the cruise because as soon as we got back, like, I went right into Project Welcome Home mode. But I did want to show you what I finished. So this was a Noro yarn that I love. You know I love my Noro yarn. And I found this pattern, and it was so easy, and it took me like 3 days to make on the ship. And I really, really loved it. So I'm going to show you guys what this looks like. It's just sort of like a cow pullover. So this is it. This is, and I just have my shirt underneath it, but even that, I kind of really like it. This is by Noro yarn, and it's just granny square. So there's 2 full sizes, 2 half sizes, and then the sleeves. But you can see, and I love the nubby yarn. I wasn't sure if I was going to like the colors because in the pattern, it shows the colors more like sea greens and sea foams, and this is more of a blue. I got it from Little Knits out of Seattle, and the yarn I think was on clearance, but I really loved it. And you know, I've actually got some really nice compliments on it. And then I just did the crochet ribbing. This took me about 3 days. I will include the pattern if you guys are interested, because of course you can use this pattern with any yarn. It doesn't have to be a Noro yarn, but I really liked how this turned out. Just a nice little tunic top. So the next thing that I worked on the ship was this yarn that I've been sitting on for the longest time. And there was a store that we had here in town that closed. She didn't go out of business, which is good. She just retired. I like that better than saying she went out of business. She just retired. And I loved this yarn, which is so not me, because you know me. I mean, color, right? I'm all about color. And this is not color. This is like this kind of straw, honey kind of a look. More straw. I don't know. I don't know why I loved this yarn. Maybe it was the nubbiness or whatever it was. But the store was going out of business. I bought what she had. She had 5 skeins. Long time. This is old yarn. Oh, I mean, relatively speaking, right? It's probably, I'd say 2020, 2018, something like that. We're in 2024, almost in 2025. So, you know, the chances of me finding this yarn anywhere in the world is like, right? You know, whatever. I could find a unicorn before I could find it. So I had the 5 skeins. It's called A Silky Wool. It is by Elizabeth Lavold, designer's choice, and it's made in Italy for KFI. Now, I know the brand KFI, but this particular, so it's one of their like international ones, and the color is called Faded Terracotta. It is 45% wool, 35% silk, and 20% nylon. It's a little bit of a luxury yarn, and I don't remember what I paid for it, honestly. But so I've had my trusty little deck of crochet stitches, and I let the Brit choose. I said, what would you choose? And so he picked out this iris stitch, which is basically kind of a V stitch. It's so simple. You basically do 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, and then you skip 4. And then you do the same thing again, and you start making this really pretty kind of an eyelet pattern. So simple. I thought, I'm going to take this, just this pattern, and I'm going to make something out of it. Well, what I ended up making, now knowing that I had 5 skeins, I thought, well, I could make like a tank top or, you know, a small top or something like that. But oh no, Kimberly just decides to go off on a rampage. I don't know. I mean, it was like loaves and fishes. I don't know where I thought I was going to be getting more of this yarn. I had 5. So what ended up happening was basically the sweater kind of stopped like literally right under the breast. Like, I mean, it was the croppest of crop tops you've ever seen. And I was like, well, what the heck am I going to do with this? But I really liked it, and it was so easy. So I was digging around the whole entire universe, the World Wide Web, every country I could possibly find. This yarn doesn't exist anymore. So I decided to go check out Ravelry. And I was like, oh yeah, Ravelry. I found 2 people on Ravelry that had it in their stash. If you don't know about Ravelry, you have got to check them out. It's sort of like a Facebook group chat, but also marketplace for crocheters and knitters. You can find patterns there. You can buy patterns. You can get a lot of them for free. You can build your own stash. So like if you have, like I tried to build my stash, my inventory, things like that. So I know what my yarn is. Sometimes I'll find a pattern and it'll say, oh, you've got something in your stash that would work. Like it's actually a really good multi-dimensional website and a source. And I've been on Ravelry forever. If you're not on Ravelry, check them out, ravelry.com, open an account, come find me. It's Knit for Brains SD, as in San Diego. Anyways, so I found these 2 people that had it, and I reached out to this one and I said, hey, and I think she had like 9 skeins. And I said, you interested in selling? And she's like, sure, absolutely. Oh my gosh. And so before I got off the ship, I was able to find what I thought was 9. Turns out she miscounted. She only had 8, but I was like, that's fine. I'll take everything you've got. And it was shipped to me. I got it. I couldn't believe, but I ended up getting 8 more skeins of this, which I rolled, and they're like 50 grams a piece. And so now I am making this thing, and let me show you, it's turning out really, really cool. And now I can make it as big as I want. So hold on, I'm going to show it to you. All right. So here it is. And what I'm doing is I'm actually going to add some more. I'm going to make a nice big kind of a cowl neck up here. So I'm going to add some more rows up here. This is this iris stitch. So simple, but it makes a really, really pretty presentation. I might add a little bit to the sleeves now that I have enough, make them a little bit longer. I probably will actually now that I'm looking at it. And I'm going to do, I have to sew up the sides when I'm all done, but I'm going to do, you see how it's longer in the back and shorter in the front? That's a good length. I wanted to have the 2 different lengths from the front and the back. And then I'll sew it up probably to right about like here, and then it'll just kind of be open. Yeah, okay. And then, so I am going to extend out the arms and extend up the collar here. But I love it. So it's just going to be like a long tunic with this, what they call asymmetrical seam or seam line. Yeah. But I thought this is kind of really cute. And I could even belt it if I wanted to, which I might, because it could be long enough. So this is what I'm doing with this yarn. Thank goodness I found this guy. So now I actually still have 4 balls of this. I might have more than I need. We'll see. But anyways, I love it. I'm really happy with it. It's just gonna be this nice long tunic. Can extend down the sleeves, extend the collar, and then that guy's almost done. I mean, that took me, well, I did a lot of it on this ship. The part that basically came up to the bust here, I did that on this ship. I've added on, I did another 4 skeins, probably in like 2 days. It knits up really fast. Last thing I want to show you, and I got to tell you what I'm doing. My needles are clanking. So, a lot of you know that last year I lost my baby girl Molly, the sweet little pug up there in that picture. She was 16 or 15 and a half. And about 3 years before she passed, I lost my boy Finn, my other pug. He was 12. He died in my arms. He had a collapsed trachea. You know, a lot of pugs have breathing problems and things like that. So I was actually able to be with him. But, you know, now I don't have any dogs. And because the Brit and I travel so much, we decided that we shouldn't have any pets just because it's just too hard and, you know, leaving. And we want to be free spirits and just go whenever we want. Anyways, so there is, and it just opened up here. It's the first one in the United States, but I think they're opening up a couple others, maybe like in Texas. There are 2 other locations in the UK. Specifically, there's one in London and one in Manchester, which is North England. And it's called CuppaPug. It is a pug-themed cafe. And they have pugs, and people pay, you know, whatever they pay for an hour. I think it's like $30 or whatever. And the pugs come in and they run around and whatever. And my son was going to give it to me for Christmas and as a gift. And I was like, that's kind of expensive. And, you know, you're a struggling editor and whatever else. Let me go and check it out first. Because I was like, I can't wait to go. So I checked it out. And lo and behold, guess what? They're looking for volunteers. Sign me up, please. So you are looking at the first in San Diego pug wrangler volunteer. This girl is so excited. So, yeah, so whenever, you know, once a week or whatever it is, I go and I help them bring the pugs in and look at these pictures, look at these babies. Oh my God, they're so cute. They're just so cute. But what's so great is it's somebody else's dog. And the Brit said, okay, I will let you do this on one condition. You can't bring any pugs home. I'm like, well, I can't because they all belong to somebody else. These pugs are not up for adoption. Now they do have connections with some pugs, like they just had some puppies come in and they're going to be up for adoption. I don't want a pug puppy. I don't want a puppy. I don't want dogs right now. Maybe later, but not right now. But this totally scratches my itch. I have to show you what I made. So the other day, I found a patch and I was like, you know, because I have to wear like a pink shirt. The uniform is pink and black. Come fun, right? I found this patch on Amazon and I'm like, oh my God, that looks exactly like my babies. I mean, Finn was an apricot and then Molly was the fawn. This looks like my babies. And so I had this pink yarn, I had a skein, so I'm using up yarn. And I threw this on my Addie knitting machine. And within a half hour, I had my little hat that I double stranded it. The Addie knitting machines are amazing. If you don't know what that is, you just wind the yarn on and you're knitting. You can do it in circles and like a tube, or you can do it in panels. You can make sweaters and all kinds of things. But this thing took me maybe like a half an hour. And then I attached a little tassel. So this is part of my uniform. Is this not adorable? I am officially a pug wrangler. All I do is I take care of the dogs before the people could, when they leave a session, then we have time to kind of clean up, put all the toys in one place. I take all the dogs outside, let them go potty. And then when it's time, they play this music, Who Let the Pugs Out, right? And then I open up the door and the pugs just go flying in the room and everybody's excited. And then my job is just to go in there and help people take pictures, like selfies and stuff. I mean, could you imagine a better job? I can't. And then I get to go home, not my dog. All I got to do is wash my clothes because, you know, it's kind of got pug stuff on it. But that's it. I don't have to worry about vet bills or food bills or anything. And I get to have this amazing pug love. So I've got a couple of they're all my favorites. I can't even choose. They're so adorable. But we'll have anywhere between 15 to 25 or even 30 pugs running around at any one time. So this is part of my new outfit. I just made this yesterday. So it's actually a FIP. It's my finished, well, it was a work in progress for like a nanosecond. Isn't it cute? I just love it. I love the stitch, the patch, so I can remember my little dudes, my little fur babies, when I get to go and be the pug wrangler. So if you happen to be in San Diego and you want to see what's going on, you got to come and check out the Cupa Pug Cafe. All right. Well, that's all I have for you right now. Just wanted to show you some of my whips. We got a lot of stuff going on. Somebody commented a while back, I want to see what's in this here. I thought, wow, that's really getting honest. That's getting down into the business. But not for her, for me. I need to get honest with myself. I need to get into the business. So I'm going to do probably a 2-part series. I'm going to show you my stash. And I'm going to start with this. We're going to dissect this. We're going to break into this. I'm going to open up every bag here. It's either a craft bag with nothing in it, or it could be the ghost of whips from whips past. I don't know. We're going to go through it. We're going to figure out what's in there. And then the second part is I'm going to show you the rest of my stash. I don't want you to be disgusted. I want you to be encouraged because we're going to do this together in 2025, my friends. Stash only 2025. That's it. So we're kicking it off. If you want to have fun, if you're a crocheter, a knitter, any kind of fiber, weaver, whatever it is, painting with yarn, this is where you belong. Thank you so much for finding us. Make sure you hit that like button that sends our videos up so that more people can find us. And make sure you hit the subscribe button. Then you don't have to think, when is she posting a video? Did I miss anything? Because you'll get a notification. And that's the easiest. Let me do all the hard work. You just sit there and look pretty and crochet and knit. Thanks so much for watching. This is Kimberly with Knit for Brains. And as always, I'll see you soon.